Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on October 12th, 2022. Okay, look, I'll just say it again. If I ever get the year wrong again, if I say it's 2024, somebody tell me, okay? Okay, Mario, can I have a commitment from you?
Sure,
If I say the wrong year, you tell me, okay?
Sure.
MarioTheRecruiter.com. I want to sound like Oprah. MarioTheRecruiter.com. Okay, I just can't give away the stuff that Oprah gives away. Iwan Gulenko, he's here too, but now, he told us he's going to be the shadow. He doesn't like to show his face because he's busy working. It's stupid, okay? But I will do his ad anyway. Ivan is an IT recruiter in Switzerland, and he is such a genius, let me put it that way, that he's got time on his hands and he has created his own applicant tracking system. It's called Klang, KLANG.SO. Hey, am I obnoxious or what? Yes, I am. Okay, that's what you get. That's what you get, Ivan, for coming on the show and refusing to show your face week after week, okay? Even after I told you it's okay. And here we have number 11, Rich Rosen, cornerstonesearch.com, our hero. Can't stop shouting.
Amen, Rich.
Man.
It's good. It's good to be in your presence again. We hereby salute you.
Yes. You guys are the best.
Okay. So anybody got something they want to say before I start talking? No. Rich, do you have anything you want to argue about?
Do I have anything I want to argue about? No, man. I just want to hear your babble. It's fun.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Would you pay for a conversation with a super candidate? This guy told a recruiter, I have a flat rate of $100 to send you my resume and $200 for a conversation about the role. It sounds crazy, but if he is perfect and if he's in great demand, you know what? I would pay.
You're an idiot.
Anybody?
I would pay him if he gives me the assurance he'd go for the first interview. Okay,
hold on.
I will give him
Did
that.
Rich call me an idiot first?
Yeah.
Yes.
He called you an idiot.
Let him come first. Okay, why am I crazy? Well, you heard what Mario said. If this is a great person, and there's no guarantee, right? That
there's no guarantee. I mean, it's like signing up for these surveys. Like, give me $50 to go taste test these cookies or whatever. It's a waste of time.
No, at least, okay. If I can get him to the first interview with the client, okay, and if I had to pay $300, if it's a very hard to find guy, TS, FS, full scope poly, TS clearance, all the shit.
Prima donnas are not worth the time.
Dude, when you need that clearance, you have no choice, man.
I've done clearance searches. They're not worth it. If you've got to pay a guy to go on an interview, you are wasting your time.
Okay, let me put a twist on that. I have heard of times when the candidate wanted $5,000 extra and the company would not pay it, so the recruiter kicked back part of the fee.
Yeah.
Is that any different, Rich?
It is, because you're already done with the search at that point. In extreme cases, it's a risk, and you wouldn't pay it until your warranty's up. But it's better that at least the guy's gone through the process. He wants the job. I mean, and if he doesn't know, it all depends how you lay it out too. If the guy doesn't know the company's being cheap, you may have a little ethic issue. But it's not the end of the world to get a deal across the finish line to shave a few points off your fee.
That's the whole point. Get the deal done.
No. It's a difference if you're doing it at the end of the process versus the very beginning. It's going to break your heart.
I
agree with you, Rich. I don't disagree with you.
Look at the people IME is recruiting for these rocket ships, okay? And they got tons of people bugging them all the time, and they're very hard to find. They're very specialized. I can understand someone saying, if they're really serious about me, they're going to pay me a fee. So they might do it not just to make the $300, but to screen out the serious
principle.
Recruiters.
If you wanted to clear that with the company first, right? The company wanted to pay it. phenomenal.
Oh,
I
you
would-
mean you'd bill your client?
Yeah, I wouldn't pay it out of my pocket on a contingent search. Absolutely not. On a small retainer, probably not. Also, if the client's that serious, you run it by the client. Say, hey, this guy will interview.
You know what?
$100.
I remember once I was doing a search for some kind of mining engineer, and I paid a few $100s, more than 300, to get on a job board that I thought would help me, and it did help me. Okay, so other times it didn't. So I paid this, and this you've got a bird in the hand. Okay, unless this person is.
But why? How do you know?
You're talking about a job board.
Yeah.
He's talking about a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've got on the job board. You don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know what you're going to get with
I-
the person either. What if
Yeah,
this
Yeah,
exactly.
you know, you've seen the profile. You know this
Big
person is
deal. How do
good.
you know it's real? How do you know
I
the
am
guy's not a
asking-
crackpot? How
I
do you know
agree
he's
with
not
Rich on
lying
this
in
point.
some dark room?
I agree with Rich for the most part, except when it's a very, very tough search. And we just got 5 guys with that kind of skill. I don't mind taking the risk.
Then your company should pay it. The client should pay it if they're that serious about it.
I agree with you on that point
Yeah.
also.
I mean, and I would bring it up to the company, say, listen, I got this guy. Maybe he's a prima donna, maybe he's not. Do you want to pay $100 to see him? Like, not to, you can pay it right to him. All right. I'm not making money on it.
That reminds me of Big Yellow Taxi. They charge him $100. Justice, isn't that what they said? She said, I can't remember the lyrics. Somebody will look it up. If
The
they
Counting
want to.
Crows, right?
If I was Joe Rogan, I would have some gopher looking up everything I talk about and then give me back the facts. Okay.
That's why you don't have 3 eyes, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Joe Rogan. He's making
But he's
$1
cool.
billion.
I mean,
I'm making nothing. Okay. Hold on. Moving on. Attention deficit disorder. I've heard
ADD.
lots of recruiters say they
I've
have.
got ADD. It's a beautiful thing for this business. For
Why do
sure.
you say that?
Because you can focus on it. Well, you don't focus. Maybe that's the problem. But you can have a lot of things going on at once. I mean, I've got the TV going on. I've got 80 different tabs open on my screen at once. And I just bounce from thing to thing.
how the bloody hell do you do that?
This is what you do. I mean, look at it's what you do. I mean,
Okay.
you just move from process to process to process. I don't know how you
That's true.
get into this business without ADD, quite frankly.
Does Bill Gates
That's
have
true.
ADD? Because I read that, sometimes there's some productivity site once, they were talking about Bill Gates can just switch from one thing to another without any warm-up time. And Peter Drucker said, when you switch from one thing to another, it's costing you 15 minutes just to adjust yourself. Okay. And I know that I can't switch from one thing to another. Rich, are you able to switch?
100%. Yeah. I mean,
You're not in focus.
half the time I'll play a video game when I'm talking to these people, or because they're just boring me. You got to be able to multitask in this business. Like if you saw my screen right now, I mean, I literally have like 3 huge browsers open. I mean, I probably have 80 tabs open. Plus
Why?
you-
80 tabs?
Just because I want to save stuff for later. I want to look at this thing for later. Or I don't want to forget to call this thing for later.
What's on 80 tabs? What can
One
you
tab,
possibly
Rich,
do?
one tab. The
No,
tool
no,
you told
this
us
is-
about.
There are different reasons for one tab, but I've got 3 or 4 different versions of my database open. I've got a bunch of LinkedIn profiles open. I got some companies I want to make sure I call. I've got a couple of script things open that I'm checking out for some sales training
Oh,
stuff.
okay, everybody should know Rich bought the 49-inch screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cost
You
around
wanna say-
$1,600.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. See,
Jesus Christ, that's a big screen.
this thing is
Yeah.
huge. So there's
Yeah,
TVs
but you know
on,
what?
see?
That's hard to move around. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Charge of $1.50 just to see him, not $100. That's coming to me slowly. Joni's song. She's an old lady now. Okay, so ADHD is good.
I think it's great.
Godsend.
But the thing is, this guy is in-house. He's a recruiting manager. He's got a new recruiter with him. He really likes the guy. He's so nice. He loves him, right? But the guy keeps making mistakes. He said, I once asked him to download 2 specific resumes, screen them, and then follow very specific instructions to submit them to our client if he thought they were a fit. Instead, he downloaded the resumes and sent them to the client without speaking to the candidates. I explained how to do it, and he did it again in an email to a different client. He can't seem to get it. Okay.
For another guy,
I-
simple.
I don't want to fire him, but
Don't
and so
fire
the
him.
people in the what should I do? People in the comments said, I'll read it. Yeah, I have ADHD. These recruiters are quite happy to confess publicly. This recruiter might have it too.
It's not a sin.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like we're Canadian or something. God.
Well, you're the way you describe it, it's a superpower, but
And it's a great thing to have. I think it's dynamite.
It's a disability.
100%
Okay.
a superpower.
Most people, it's a disability.
See, I agree with Dave. See?
Okay. He said, he said, this guy says, if that's the case, he says, ask him if he's ever addressed it. He said, I myself just started taking Adderall and it changed my life. Okay. It increases my ability to be focused. And someone else said, if you ask him that, you're opening yourself to a lawsuit. It's illegal to ask someone who's working for you if they have ADHD, even if it seems very apparent and you're trying to help them.
I mean, it's one thing if you're on meds for ADHD, or you're just like, if you're a kid growing up trying to figure it out, I think it can be challenging, but once you figure it out, I think it's a great thing.
What, Adderall or ADHD?
Well, no, not taking drugs, just having ADD. You can just, you're just able to focus on a lot of things or get a lot of things done at once.
Okay, so have you ever been diagnosed, Rich, or is that your own self-diagnosis?
No, I got diagnosed in college.
Well, what prompted you to go to get diagnosed?
Because I was taking these tests in this class where I knew all the answers, but I'd go to the test and I would just mess them up. I would just bomb the test. And I went to talking to the teacher and she's like, we should go get tested. And I'm like, this is back in the 90s where ADD was like the in thing, And so it was, I went and got tested. Like, yeah, the guy's got ADD. Turns out like most of my, I think everyone from my mom's from New York. I think half of New York is ADD. It's even Einstein had ADD.
How do you know?
Go look it up.
Okay.
Be honest with you, the vast majority, I forget what the stat was, but honestly, most people actually technically can get diagnosed with ADD. There's different levels of it.
So it's meaningless, in other words, right?
It is, because there's different levels. There's like extreme if you're on Adderall or like I've got nephews that are, highly,
Did you let your wife know that you had ADD and you're never going to listen to her properly if you get married? Yeah, honey.
Yeah, whatever. What is that thing?
That's a good one.
What is this thing you've got on your side there?
This?
Yeah.
You know what? I've lost the pads to my to my ear.
Animal, why don't you buy some new earphones?
This goes around the back. This goes around the back. I don't like the ones that go on top.
Okay,
you can't get them. I went to Best Buy. They don't have them. I looked.
Go to Best Buy.
Go to Wall or go to.
Wait. Mario, hang on. Animal, why don't you just get a mic?
I'm using that mic today. Everything works that didn't work last time.
Get like an actual quality mic. Get some cheap. I bought these Pebble speakers for $20 on Amazon. They work great. And I got this. I got a new mic last week for this Blue Yeti mic.
Let me show it to us.
Listen. Look at it. Yeah. It's a Blue Yeti mic. Can you see it?
So you make calls on that, Rich?
All day long, baby. This is how I talk to everyone all day.
Oh, you don't talk on your speakerphone anymore?
No, I've been using this mic for like years. I had another mic, but then I didn't like how it sounded all of a sudden. So I got this new one a few weeks ago, put an arm on it.
So you're calling, you make your calls through the internet?
100%. This is how I talk to everyone.
And where do you hear? Where do you?
I have speakers attached to my Mac.
Oh, so you're hearing it just from speakers?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they got $20. These Pebble speakers, they're called. They're small, but they're good. They sound great. And then they got
$20. Who cares?
What?
For $20, who cares?
Exactly.
If they last you for 3 months, it's okay. Even
I've had them for 2 years. These speakers are great.
Oh Jesus, that's worse.
Yeah, honestly,
Rich, and I thought I was being cheap.
What's cheap? It works.
No, I appreciate it. Understand, it's a compliment. You're really using them. You would have probably made $1 million out of $20.
Well, that's the thing. Literally, I just got my taxes done. If I spend like $10,000 a year on expenses, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, so this is the thing. I was talking to someone about this the other day too. You don't need to spend a ton of money on this business to make a lot of money.
True. I won't disagle with you. I agree.
You don't use LinkedIn Recruiter. It's like $16,000, right?
Yeah, I do have SalesNav, which I don't really use that much, but I have it.
SalesNet.
Yeah.
SalesNet.
Navigator.
Yeah.
Check out Seek Out. You won't need a LinkedIn.
Yes, I used Seek Out a long time ago. Is it gotten better?
It's yeah. I mean, you have access to it for a variety of industries, and it gives you a lot of, you could, like, depending upon if diversity is important, you can slice and dice, you know, and really find.
Okay,
what
so this
profiles
is
are
a
for.
famous David M. Marr, okay?
Yeah.
He
Hey,
doesn't
David.
introduce himself, he just starts talking. There's nothing to advertise for him, but he's an in-house corporate recruiter, and he's endorsing Seek Out as his favorite contact information tool. Is that what you're doing, David M. Marr?
It's more robust than just a contact tool. I would say it's a sourcing tool.
Okay. But let me just come back. Rich Rosen, what made you switch to this from your phone? You were so happy with using the speakerphone.
I switched years ago.
No, you didn't.
I did too.
But you told us earlier that a few months back you told you used a normal 8x8.
Yeah, I use Ring Central, and then I was
Okay.
using speakerphone on 8x8. But for the last 2 years, I was using a mic and no phone. Like I had my speakerphone next to me, but
right.
the mic.
And
is
how do people call you?
same way they call? I answer it on my computer, answer it on my phone, answer it on my watch, wherever I want. It's
It's
fantastic.
like Dick Tracy?
Yeah. It's like you do whatever you want.
But
I mean,
David
like,
M.
He's the
Marr,
he's the Dick Tracy of recruiting.
There you
David
go.
M. Marr, so your company pays for it, or do you have to pay for Seek Out yourself?
Well, they do not pay for it here. I've used it at other companies. I don't use it.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm
How
on Seek Out now.
recently?
I haven't used this. I haven't been on Seek Out in literally almost exactly 2 years. I got all these old searches listed in there. I'll have to check it out now. See if it got better.
How much
I'm
is it?
looking up at
How much is it
I believe it was like 3,500 for a seat for a year.
per year?
But they have it for like $40 for 20. What do you call
For 20
200
years?
contact details, right? No, $40 for contact details, right? I
Or
got
you
it
can
recently.
buy a la carte. You can buy a
Yeah,
la
a la
carte
carte,
as
yeah.
well. Okay.
Fine.
Well, the
Okay.
the founder of the company used to be a Microsoft executive, so as a result of that, he's got insights into, you know, LinkedIn.
Allegedly, that's a good selling point because Microsoft owns LinkedIn as well. So this guy knows the back secrets. Yeah,
Like
supposedly.
Chatterworks guys are the same thing. I'm actually going to go on the board of be an advisor for Chatterworks,
Hey,
which is
cool. Can
early.
you give me a
stage.
discount?
It's an early stage company.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You could, but the same guy. These are the guys that built Connectifier years ago, and then sold it to LinkedIn. So he's tied into all these guys too. There's so many of these things coming out now.
Colby,
But-
right? You spoke with him, right?
So which one?
Colby, right? Colby, right?
No, I
He's the
don't know.
guy. No, he's the guy
Harry,
who
you
handles the work. Okay, maybe I spoke to Colby about Chatterbox. Even I'm using Chatterbox. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the space, and it's like everything else. You got to have multiple solutions. I don't think any of them are perfect.
Correct.
But they got a whole lot of they have a lot of cool things on the horizon. They're hoping to come out with. So it's going to.
In fact,
Go
I have
ahead.
to renew this month. Next month, renew Chatterbox. For
There
us.
you go. Renew.
Yeah, that's the story. But it's okay. I mean, what you said is correct, Rich. For the money we put in, we really make some good money out of this business.
Yeah.
You can't find any businesses that give a about what, at least a 5 times return on the investment.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if you're making $1 million,
Rich, Ivan
100
helped
times.
hit this guy figure out. You can hear his sound is better. Thank you, Ivan. That was
Yeah.
all due to Ivan. He never tested his. He wasn't speaking from his mic. He has his mic. He wasn't speaking from his mic.
The
that's right
stupid
beside his
computer.
mouth.
See, what happened is I used to use this computer for gaming, okay, and I had fixed up the Oculus set on this.
Yeah,
so that
I don't
screwed
care
it up.
about your excuses. Hey, everybody,
I have
we've
it.
only got geniuses. We've only got geniuses on this show. Or now you know why we worship Rich, because we're so stupid, okay?
That should
Okay.
be the clip for the week right there. Right.
There
So
you go.
Seriously?
Okay, okay.
Hanukkah's coming up, baby. You can put that out
It's
there.
a little while away. Let's not jump the gun,
Purple
okay?
squirrel,
I just
purple
got
squirrel.
over all those other holidays. Okay, look, everybody. What about this? Resilience. This is, I read an article that Gavin posted, and it said, resilience is a skill gained from dealing with obstacles, handling obstacles without outside help. People who have never had a major obstacle thrown in their way rarely become resilient. Okay. Now, Joe Mullings, who is a great recruiter, in my opinion. Does anybody else agree with me here? Okay, don't worry about it. He's a great recruiter. He's a smart guy. Okay. And he only hires people to work on his team who have had some kind of trial in their lives that they've overcome. So he must actually ask them, what struggles have you overcome in your life? I don't know if that's legal, to tell you the truth. Okay, if you can't ask someone if maybe they've got ADHD. I don't know if you can say, look, what private struggles or professional struggles have you
You
had?
can ask that question. Why can't you ask it?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a fair
Professional,
question.
not private. What
Yeah.
personal struggles have you had in your life? Have you,
No, it's how you word it. Tell me an incident or a part of a portion of your life where you've overcome some tremendously tough or difficult obstacles. There you have it.
It's a question they ask on, when you're applying for college. It's usually an essay question, actually.
Hold on, David M. Marr, you're on the inside. Is that legal or not?
Yeah, I would agree with Mario and Rich that it depends on how it's worded, but yeah, it's not an illegal question.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they ask that on almost every college application. Tell me a story about something you've
If
overcome.
I asked it, I would get charged. Just I want you to know.
Seriously?
Okay?
In
I believe
Canada?
I would. Yes. Okay.
You believe you
I
would.
would.
See, I don't want your beliefs. I want to know the facts.
Yeah, there you go. Nice, Mario. Nice.
Animal got animals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a change, right?
I wanted to ask a question. Well, okay. So hold on, Rich. Just let me clarify for a second. So the phone system you're using with these speakers and this microphone, which is no better than mine, by the way. This is blue, whatever I've got. Okay, but you're using Ring Central to hook them together. Is that right?
Yes.
Does that cost money?
Yeah, Ring Central. I don't even.
$30 and $30, right? Per
Something
seat.
like that. 30, 40 bucks a month.
And how do you dial?
I literally just click the dial. I got the numbers in my database, and I just click call. Click the phone.
His ATS is connected to the Ring Central.
Yeah.
Animal. It's like totally linked. He's got a full link.
The ATS is fully linked, but you can also just click make a call and dial a phone number on your keypad on your computer, or you can cut and paste a phone number in there.
And you've got a phone number that if they call you, it rings on your phone, on your computer, and on your watch all at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you can set it so it does it in a different way, but yeah.
So
Like,
if
so
you
Mario, call him. Let's hear it.
Exactly.
No.
So
if you leave home
Yeah.
and you're watching your kid's basketball game, you set it so it can
You don't have to. I have it set automatically to ring everywhere. Like it will ring twice on my computer, and then it will ring on my computer and my phone. And if it's my phone.
And what if a call is coming in while you're talking to somebody else?
You can either pause the call, you can end the call and go to voicemail. You could end the call and pick it up, whatever you want to do. Normal phone.
Okay.
It's a soft phone. It's called a soft phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else think that's great? Or
Animal, that's pretty old school now.
Yeah.
Right.
So you also
old.
text from it, so it records it in your database and everything.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
well, hockey season starts tonight, Animal. Bruins starts
Yeah,
tonight.
never been a fan, except when I was a little kid.
You're in Canada. How are you not a fan?
My father, I used to like collecting hockey cards. And the thing is, my father and I always had fights because I would call the Maple Leafs the Mapes. I was about 7 or 8, and I always called them the Mapes, and he would always say, "They're the Leafs. They're the Leafs." And I just couldn't help it, right? And he's a bad-tempered guy, or he was, and the Leafs, not the Mapes. Okay, I like the Mapes. And that, I guess that was a trauma. It turned me off after a while, right? Although
Very sad to hear that.
I read a book by a woman who was the only woman in her office. I can't remember what her some kind of financial job or something. And she said she deliberately started reading the sports pages so she would be able to have a good rapport with the other people in the office, because the guys like talking about sports. So should recruiters, even if they're not interested in a sport, make sure to read about sports so they can build rapport with
That doesn't hurt, but not necessary. There's a million other things you can build. There's a million other things you can build rapport with, but it doesn't hurt. It's an easy commonality. Especially I've been sending emails out for, like, if I see like a college team, if you see this guy went to a Big Ten school and their college team lost or won, send him an email that says, "Hey, go like Cornhuskers" or whatever, man. Gets an easy intro.
Okay.
Open the door.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. Let me see. Okay, here's a question. How to deal with gut feelings feedback. Okay. So you got to hire. I've got a whole list of things that people don't like about hiring managers. And one of them is the only feedback they say, I don't like the feel of this person. It's a gut feel. Okay. A recruiter, she doesn't like that. She wants to know exactly what was wrong. Okay. I want to know, since Rich, I know you'll deny it, but you're famous for saying if they're not cooperative, walk away from that client. Is this a deal breaker for you when they just say, Rich, no, I don't like this guy? And you say, why? And my feeling, my gut feel. What is it, Rich?
no, it's not. It's not you just walk away from it just because of that. But if you got to push them a little bit and say, listen, what exactly didn't you like? How can I possibly help you by just saying, what do you want me to tell the candidate? Do you want me to tell them, hey, and how do you want me to do the search? How do you want me to continue the search? What do you want to see better? What do you want to see different? You got to push them for info, and try to figure out where this guy was off. Was it just his tone? Was he flat? So probe, push.
And if they don't comply after you've asked, what happens then?
It definitely, the search definitely takes a dip. It's definitely not going to be as high a priority.
Do you warn them? You say, listen, Bill, or listen, Shirley, I'm only using English names, sorry. Then, you know what? I'm not going to be able to put my full focus on your search. Do you actually threaten them like that?
No, you make everything like it's so black and white. It's totally not. But no, I tell them, listen, I mean, how would you like me to go forward with this? What do you want to see different? And if they can't answer that question, it's kind of a flag.
And then what do you do when that flag comes up? That's what I'm asking, Rich.
Well, as I said,
he puts it on me. I ask him a legitimate question. He says, "Oh, something's wrong with you, animal."
Well, because you don't ask legitimate questions.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You are famous for telling these people, for
You're
actually
right. Firing clients
with them.
There's a difference between firing clients for a jerk versus firing clients for just because they're trying to figure it out. Sometimes they just don't know, and you're right. It doesn't. If it was the last 2 years, yeah, you know what? That role is going to slide down the mountain bit on your priorities, your priority. So, but because you can only, what are you going to do if you're just literally hiring from gut instinct? You'd be wasting your time if that's your main search.
Okay, so you would not, but you're saying you would not refuse to deal with someone who played that game with you.
Again, it all is black and white. You can't. There's always a gray area. If they continue every candidate, they can never give you any feedback on.
How many is every candidate? 2, 3?
2 or 3.
Bring in 3 good candidates, and they say, I don't like.
Yeah, if I give someone 3, I only typically send 3 or 4 candidates. So if I give you 3 candidates and you can't give me any real feedback on any of them, yeah, that search is probably toast.
Okay, I'm going to ask the other guys, but I'll give you the real answer here. One person. One. If I work hard and bring in one person and they can't tell me why they're rejecting them, get out of here. I'm not wasting my time on you idiot.
Animal, hold up. Animal, what kind of searches are you working on?
Let's say a project manager for a strategic project manager for a hospital. Boy, there's not many guys that available. Yeah. You got to reel them in, and the money might be, just go in and take a look, please. You might like it. They might even kick up the money if they think that you're really special. Okay. Okay.
Animal already gave him $100 to go interview. Go ahead.
You're taking tranquilizers to calm down because the search is so hard. And don't tell me there aren't recruiters doing that, because I see them whining about how hard their searches are and they're overloaded. Okay. And so you're doing your best. And this guy just shrugs when you got the answer. Well, what's wrong with this candidate? Screw you, okay? I'm not working with you anymore.
Rich, I think the animal has gone hyper.
I think so. He needs some Adderall. Maybe he needs a gummy, I think. I don't know.
I'm passionate. I'm just passionate.
You're passionate? That's not passionate. That's wild.
Wait a second. David M. Marr is the only guy who's on the inside here, okay? You got to live with these jerks who reject you. You can't walk away. Or can you? Okay, because you're working more than one search. Would you, if you're still with?
Yeah, so typically when somebody gives you another bad one that says gut feel, I would say is like culture, not a culture fit. That's such an ambiguous BS type answer that usually we'll probe differently. if they don't give me a direct answer, like a trick I learned a long time ago when I was an agency was send people on two ends of the spectrum based upon whatever their profile is, and whichever one they express an interest to interview, that's what I keep sending them.
Okay, I do
Say,
not
say that
really
again.
understand.
Wait, say that again.
He sends a
let's say,
variety of
let's-
people, and then they don't even have to say, they pick one. You want chocolate or vanilla? So he just sends chocolate and vanilla, and they pick one or the other, and then
You know how,
from
like,
that,
with-
he knows.
With certain profiles, there's certain like extremes that the profile could
Yeah.
gravitate.
I don't like
towards.
those games, okay? I don't want to have to figure out stuff and then get screwed later on. I want them to tell me clearly, okay? And I believe that
Sometimes though, I
Ernie,
don't think they know what they want or what they need. So you
Sometimes,
kind of,
yeah.
I think
But that's why
where
you got to
it's-
probe. But that's
Yeah,
why you can't
exactly.
just say, you know, if they don't know, you got to pull it out of them. You got to make them figure it out. And sometimes, you know, and it's not like these guys are, a lot of times these guys are not like professional interviewers. They don't know how to interview. They're
Yep.
just like, I don't know, this is what they told me to ask. You know, they don't even know what they're really looking for sometimes.
And some
you know.
companies don't have good management, hiring manager interviewing training,
Yeah.
or
any
management
at all.
for that matter.
Yeah,
And
most
you
don't have it at all.
somebody that, you know, is doing things the way that, I don't know, they were taught or their mentor
it
taught.
sounds like you guys are just making excuses for them. If that's true, David M. Marr, you say, look, Billy, I am a professional recruiter. Let me guide you, okay? This is very, what's wrong with that? This is very important. You want me to be directed and
God.
get you what you want, then you've got to work with me this way. I got a checklist of questions and we're going to go through them, okay? And if not, I'm warning you, okay? There's got to be a little warning there, Ernie.
Hello.
If your client, sorry, I'm going to beat this to death. If your client, if you send out a good candidate, the client says, I'm rejecting them, and you say, why? I just don't like the feel of this person. What are you going to do? Walk away?
No, I'd ask him more questions as to why. Come on, tell me more. You gotta, and then just kind of, I would probably leave it alone.
Okay, but here's what somebody said. Tom said, and I like this. It's something I've never done. He said, teach the person at the beginning, before you start the search, look, the kind of feedback I'm going to need is not just vague. It's going to have to be very detailed. Rich, do you do that?
Yeah, I mean,
Is that in your contract? Isn't something like that about get back to me within 48
yeah,
hours?
you have to get back to me within so much time. But yeah, I mean, I don't make it a hard, fast rule for you got to give me this feedback. I mean, I tell them in the conversation, listen, the more feedback you give me, the better I'm going to be able to do for you. If you don't give me any feedback, you know, it's probably not going to be the top of the list. You know,
So he does threaten them. Look, he made me look like an idiot. And he just,
but it's again, it's you know, it's in the beginning of the conversation. They just take it for whatever. It's just more of a comment. It doesn't happen in every client conversation, you know. But then once you go into the search, you know, listen, if they're not giving you feedback, what are you doing? Like, why would
But are you using the words "you are not top of the list," or which exact wording do you use if you talk to them?
when you know when I come up, like, I'm trying to think of the last time I've said it. It doesn't, like I said, it's not like an every conversation thing. You got to kind of get a feel for it. People who haven't used recruiters a lot, they got to understand how to work with recruiters. But I mean, I don't know what my exact wording is, but it's probably pretty close to that because I'm pretty blunt.
But Rich,
So-
if like they have worked with recruiters and you know that, and they don't get back to you,
Yeah, I'll send them if they're not getting back to me, I'll send them a text. Say, listen, I'll just put the searches on hold until I hear from you.
now when you're doing that, and say you're working with an internal recruiter, do you ever do that?
Rarely.
Okay, but when you do, and the internal recruiter or someone down the line, and your contact is somebody above them, but you're dealing with a hiring manager.
So
your contact is a
I mean,
VP.
I've got an example right now. I mean, I've dealing with both the internal recruiter and the CRO. They're the slowest company on the planet, you know. So I sent them a text this morning. I'm like, guys, it's been like a week now, basically, you know, since we got any feedback. I'm going to assume you're not that interested. So this guy says start interviewing other clients of mine. You know, and then the internal recruiter gets back. So, no, we're very interested. I'm like, great, then let's get something set up. You know, and then it's crickets. So I was like, whatever, you know. So I sent the guy up for another opportunity.
So you rat him out.
What?
So you rat him out. The internal
What
recruiter.
do you mean? No, I didn't rat anyone out. It's the
Well, I mean, you tell the recruiter, the internal recruiter's job is to get back to you.
no.
not-
It's she's waiting for the CRO. She's waiting for the sale. You know, either way, I don't really give a shit who's supposed to get back to me? Because that's why, I mean, this is why I like dealing with the hiring manager, not the internal recruiter. Not that I don't like the internal recruiters, but they're
Mhm.
just beholden to the guy above them. So
David M. Marr is on the inside. What would you
Yeah.
do if you were, what should Rich do in that situation? David M. Marr?
I think that he should, press, if you don't have direct hiring manager access and you're stuck going through an internal recruiter, I mean, I would prioritize if they're not responding in time, then
Exactly.
it's lower on the
No, no,
list.
what I want to know is that what Ivan asked, what words would you use? How blunt, quote, rich would you get? Okay. What would
I
you
was
say to
pretty
that
blunt.
internal?
Well,
recruiter?
I mean, I would be direct, but I would be professional in my tone. I
You know, I don't like those vague words. Ivan said,
Not
what
vague.
words would you use? I don't want
polishing a
blunt
turd.
and professional. I don't know what that
polishing
means.
a turd. You're delivering a shit sandwich. Here it is.
exactly. It's like, like I said, listen, I was pretty blunt. It's like, listen, if you guys aren't interested, let me know. If you are interested, let me know. Either way, I'm sending this guy out for other interviews, or he's gonna, he's looking at other opportunities. I'm like, I paused the
Was
search.
it like a retained search that you didn't submit the person to several jobs at the same time, or?
This was a contingent search. I really didn't have anything else for him because it's a whole long story behind this search.
But
But
why you sent the person then not directly to like 5 companies?
because it's a whole unique story. It's not a
Okay.
but normally if it's contingent, I would anyway. But they don't need to know that. But once they're not getting back to you, then you can say, listen, you just throw it out there because everyone thinks it's their own bubble and everyone else, forgets there's other bubbles out there, So sometimes you got to remind them, hey, listen, there's other things out there. You're not that important. Like this company is a shit company anyway, that just went through a new CEO, brought a new CRO, and there's that whole long story behind it.
Do you write that in the you write that in the
I tell them,
Your company?
but you know what? I do tell them in the interview when I'm screening them. I tell them up front because they're going to figure it out.
Well, hold on. You tell
gotta
them
wait,
what?
if
They
you
got
gotta-
through changes, or this is a shit company,
No, he says it nicely. He'll say, well, as you may be aware, you are a shit company.
Yeah. Dude, listen, there's certain clients, certain companies, you got to have to remind them they're a C player, And I did this with this company. I was working with the PE firm, and I had a big conversation with the investor, and I'm like, you realize this thing is like a total C player, right? And these candidate pool that you're looking at is horrible. And he's like, yeah, we kind of figured it out. I mean,
You deal with the VCs. How are you, Rich?
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
The smart ones,
Okay. Okay, so they actually participate in the hiring, the guys who are
Yeah.
funding the companies.
Some do, not often, but some do.
Okay, because
lot
that
of
would be
them
a
are women-
problem if there's
women
the
founders.
founder is there and wants somebody, and the VC is saying, no, I'm gonna handle the hiring here.
It happens. Well, that part happens a lot. Sometimes the founders want the VC's input also, especially if it's a senior level role.
Mhm.
And sometimes they get jealous, they get
Yeah.
upset. They get into
Well, that's-
politics.
Part of this problem was exactly that's what happened. That one of the board members ended up taking over the CEO role, when the other, it's the whole mess. It's a long
Okay.
story.
Okay, what if someone asked a question? When you're interviewing or you're screening somebody and you realize partway through, this candidate's no good, okay? They're not qualified in the mid-interview, okay? Do you cut it short? And how do you do that? Or do you just finish it off? Anybody want to answer?
It depends. Are they not good because they're just boring people? Or are they not good because they're just not good for that particular role?
They're
You
not
know?
good for that role. They don't have exactly what you want.
Yeah, so you figure out what else you can use them for. You should never be interviewing just for that particular company or role.
Well,
I
you might
agree
not
with
have
you.
anything else for them.
But hopefully you're going to have something else for them in the future.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Otherwise-
you finish off the interview. That's you finish
If-
off the interview.
Yeah, if they're good. I mean, if the guy is as boring as hell, or he's 100 years old, or he's,
Just
Yeah,
don't
be
say
careful,
that,
be
okay?
careful.
well, there's no 100-year-old guys in sales, so that's okay. But either way, but if they have skills and they're just not right for your role today, you definitely want to keep the guy warm for tomorrow.
Okay, so
And,
you don't
and you,
cut,
and you definitely, and you look at them like if they have a higher role, they're going to be a boss somewhere.
Yeah.
In their contact.
Exactly.
So you treat them very nice, and they'll remember you.
I just called a guy today. I sent him out an interview 7 years ago, and now today he's just got funding for his company, for a company he founded. I'm like, fantastic. They remember.
They remember better than you do.
A lot of them do. That's for sure.
okay, so nobody says partway, this guy, I'm recruiting Mario
That's a
for
bad recruiter.
job X, and I can see now it's not a match, and I'm just gonna, Mario, I don't think we got anything going here. I'm gonna cut it out now. Nobody does that, right?
Well,
Nobody does that, right?
That's a sign of a moron who doesn't know his basics.
Exactly.
Hey, there we
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
There we go. Okay, Mario, I've got a question that I was waiting for
Please,
you to
go
come
ahead.
back. Okay, and Rich said too. What about when you've got a search that's stealth, where you can't tell anybody either sometimes what the company is and sometimes what they're doing? Like Amy, our famous friend,
Yeah.
she said, you know how hard it is recruiting people when you can't tell them what the company's doing exactly? And this guy said, welcome to clearance jobs, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you focus. Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So you're not allowed to tell anybody about what's involved in the job?
See, to be very frank, half the time I have no clue what they do in the job. Okay.
I'm sure she doesn't
It's
either.
it's very technical, and see, I'm not a very technical person. My game is to sell the company, but I normally don't tell them the company name too at times. Okay.
Mario recruits
Until they're
for
really interested in
CIA.
the company.
Well, how do you handle it when they say, okay, Mario, what company are we talking about? What do you say?
I'll tell them they're a government subcontractor, and if you confirm your interest in the role, I'll present you to them, and then we'll schedule a call with them. But you
Okay,
may
so
not have heard of them.
you actually tell them, I'm going to send your resume to the company
Yeah,
without letting you know where your resume is going. You'll only
No.
find out.
I'll tell them the general gist of the job, the location, the details. Okay, but I cannot give the name. But see, we don't really work searches like that because it's a federal thing. We can tell them the company name. Okay, we just don't know what exactly happens inside the role.
Okay, and so they don't know either. So you just say
No,
you
they
show
know
them
because
on-
they do the job, but they can't divulge that to a recruiter, right? Those are that's classified data.
And
Okay, yeah,
If
he's
if
losing me. Hold on, Rich said he works these jobs too. Oh, Ernie wants to get
He
in.
I
works
was
Ernie,
just
for
saying,
sure.
if you do this at a higher level, and people have been around the block in terms of they're truly professionals and up there.
What's your definition of
all you
higher
have-
level? I'll tell you, we don't go to executive.
Let me just say this though. If you tell somebody it's a confidential search, and I hope you understand that, I've always had people just say, yeah, I understand.
Exactly. I mean, the guys who know it know it.
Yeah, and then from there,
And
confidential
there are
in what
morons who
sense?
don't know it.
In what sense?
And
You
they're
can't say
morons.
the company, or you can't say what's
No,
involved in the
We
job.
don't tell normally what happens, let me tell you the scenario. We are competing with other recruiting firms also for similar candidates. All right. Okay. Sometimes a government subcontractor will have 2-3 firms working together. Okay. And sometimes some candidates think they're very smart. They bypass the snake go and they get screwed on the offer. Okay. This happened just recently. All right. But we tend to give them the details of the company. Okay. But we can't give them the exact details of the job.
Because
But
you
you give them
don't
the
know,
company-
or
you give them the
because you
company
can't
name?
say.
Yeah, so we do normally tell them the company name.
okay.
Okay, that's a
Okay,
little
but
different.
sometimes I've asked my guys to make it confidential until I talk to the candidate, because I'm the final guy who decides whether he goes or not.
Ernie, do you handled a stealth search, Ernie? And then it's a walk in the park. I can't tell you. Okay, Ernie. fine.
Not sales, but confidential searches I have.
Yeah.
Because
And
there's somebody on board and everybody understands that. They just sort of say, yeah, there's somebody on board, it's confidential. This
So
is the
they're going to be
industry,
fired. They're going to be firing this person. Doesn't that put the fear of God into them? Say, hey, they're firing this guy. What's going to happen to me? I have to know the details.
No, they never ask that. They never ask that. They always,
Okay,
everybody's looking out for themselves,
yeah,
but at the same
exactly.
time,
let's ask Apollo Creed here. What's the answer? Okay, Rich, wake up.
Working, my friend, working.
I know, but you
What's up?
said you've worked on clearance jobs too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do? What can you tell them that you can't tell them the company, or you can't tell them?
But
what the job involves?
I never lead a conversation with who the company is. Like I'm not working for clearances like Mario was like working for a government agency. Mine are software companies selling into these defense companies,
Yeah.
and they need clearance for those roles. So, but I never lead my opportunities ever with, hey, I'm working for company X. It's
But
always
at-
let's have a conversation.
Rich,
then-
but during the conversation at the end, do you tell them the name of the company? And
If I'm going to move them forward, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Until you know they're interested in the role, you don't divulge the company name. Only
if
a
they- if
fool
they
does that.
qualify.
Oh, unless you're working internally. So you
Yeah,
need to sell the company.
Yeah, I mean, I never understood the reason, there's it's very rare ever. I mean, I can't remember the last time I ever gave a company up first, but it's like sending a blind resume. Like if a company wants, oh, send me a blind resume, it'll never go anywhere. Blind resumes and giving the name of a company first before you talk to someone, rarely do they result in any kind of money.
Okay, Rich, let's get the Ivan question here. If they say, Rich, what company are you working with? What do you say exact words?
I say, well, listen, what's going on in your situation?
So you
That's
just
it.
you just pretend you didn't hear it.
Yeah. And then, but it's like, I heard it, but I don't really care. It's like, what's going on in your situation? What do you, it's like basically you're asking like, what do you need to know? Let's see what makes sense. I've got.
Why do I need to know? You want me to work there? Wouldn't it be nice for me to know? Yeah.
No, I said, listen, I represent a ton of companies. I mean, I can give you a list of 50. Would you like them alphabetical? How would you like them? I mean, it's, let me find out a little bit about you. Let me help you. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not asking for any money. I'm actually looking to help you make more money and better your career, get ahead. It's more about, hey, what can I really do for you? If you're, and people that are open or intelligent realize that's the case anyway. The guy that just wants to know the name of the company, 99% of the time,
He's
just
not interested in the role, right?
So
exactly.
what you're
We
saying
had
is
guys like that.
What you're saying that if they invest the time to talk to you about their background and tell you what their needs are and et cetera, their skills, then that is the beginning of knowing that there's an interest and they're legitimate.
And what they're looking for.
If they don't tell you anything at the beginning, then they're just messing with you.
Absolutely.
Ernie, actually, we have a company policy which I created, which my recruiters tell any of the candidates that, see, as per company policy, until we have a conversation with you, we cannot divulge any specific details about the company name, but we can give you the general salary, what they want from the candidate, and the location of the job, if it's not remote.
Mm-hmm.
And the job title, of course.
Yeah, you have a different it's a different way because of just the fact that the type of clients you deal with.
Yeah.
I mean, even with my general clients, I have general IT guys I work with, but even them, we have some financial guys who we work for. Okay, and we don't give the name until we're sure the candidate's interested in the role.
Well, let me ask a question in here. I asked originally, I said, well, what happens if you're the last question, you're midway through the interview, you realize this person's not a match for your current search. And then you get to the end of the interview and you know that it's not a match. What do you tell the candidate then? You know what, we've spoken for a half an hour. I don't think you're a match for anything current that I'm working on, but I'll put you in my database and perhaps we'll speak again. Is that what you say? How do you...
No, first rule of thumb, it should never be that. You should know if the candidate's a match when you take the call with the candidate. At least 80%, 60% match. But if there are scenarios which we face where the candidate doesn't have a current clearance, we tell them, here, see, this is the problem. You don't have a clearance right now. This role requires it. So let me see if something else comes up.
But not a match in the sense that sometimes they say, you know what, I don't want to move to that area or I don't want to go to that particular town.
Don't make it easy for you to answer that question. The person's interested, you don't think it's a match or whatever. I mean,
at the end of it, then you just tell them, look, I don't think there's a match here, and these are the reasons I don't think there's a match. So
yeah, you need to have something
but I'll hold you in the future. I see
you're not doing any good to lie to them.
Yeah, obviously.
So you tell us, so Rich, you tell them, because Rich was going on and everybody, well, what do you think? I'm recruiting him for one job. I've got a million jobs. I want
that's Rich works in the niche of sales niche. Okay, so he has an advantage there.
No, most of his now he's saying he tells him, no, look, I'm working on this search and you're not the one for this. Maybe we'll talk.
Well, I'm not gonna if they're not a fit for that opportunity, I generally don't tell them who the company is.
But you don't tell them they're a moron, right?
No, but at the end of the at the end of the meeting, though, at the end of the meeting, you do say, you know what? I called up and said I'm working on an interesting position, but it is interesting, but not for you. Okay? Do you tell them? Do you tell them that?
I say, listen, it's great for the right person. You're not the right person.
You actually say that.
No, I don't say that. No, I just.
What do you say? I want to know.
Listen, it's really not going to be a fit. They really want either more experience here or a deeper exposure to this.
Or you want too much money?
Yeah, sometimes just the money's not going to fit. I mean, easy way to get out of it is if they tell you where they're at for money and say, listen, these guys are never going to come up to it. to that kind of money.
They're not going to come. They're not going to come up to 50,000.
Yeah, exactly. They're never going to pay you 27 grand. God.
Hold on, I have my follow-up question, and the invisible guys are free to chime in as well. What about if it's not like, these guys, how they set up the answers for themselves so they seem so reasonable? You really have to dig. Oh yeah, you're not good for this reason, and this X, you're missing this. What if you just don't like the person's personality? You don't think
yeah, it happens.
What do you say? What do you say then? Okay, you bluff them on something else. Oh, it's
That's
the
when
money.
you go to the salary. You go to the salary.
Yeah, you go to the salary. Sometimes you call it. Sometimes you just call them back and say, "Listen, they changed the location. They want the guy in L.A., not Boston." It's just an easy out. I mean, it's very simple.
Nobody can go to LA. They want you in downtown New York.
Exactly. They want you in Hoboken. Forget it.
When recruiting conferences were a big thing before the pandemic, I used to ask
They're back.
people.
Pinnacle conference this week.
Okay,
Yeah.
welcome. Good for you. They used to ask people, well, if you're at a conference and you're talking to a person, how do you break off the conversation? How do you get away from them? It was always, oh, I have to go to the washroom, or I have to first refresh my drink. It was never nice talking to you. I'm going to go talk to somebody else. It was never that forward. Okay, there's always some angle. Everybody. They bluff them. There's some kind of bluff involved.
Well, listen, you don't have to be obnoxious.
Changed or something like that.
But you don't have to be obnoxious just because the guy's not a fit for this role. You want to keep him for future, unless he's a total dud. But then you still want to be rude because you never know who they know.
David and Marr, you want to say anything?
I think it's best to be professional always, and
Exactly.
Don't use that word, okay? It doesn't mean anything.
It does mean-
What does it mean?
It means you're respectful and you're not just a dick.
How does
if
that?
you
Don't use that word either. God.
Yeah. How does it come down? I'll blame this on Ivan. How does it come down to actual words? Okay.
Well, Animal, it was nice talking to you. I have somebody I have to talk to over there, and we'll connect at a future date. Boom,
There
done.
you go. Yeah.
You be talking
Got
to me
11
for an
o'clock, I
hour,
gotta go.
and now you're saying
You're gonna know in 15 minutes. You know in 15
Well,
minutes.
I mean, when you go to the conferences and networking events and things of that sort, you're not there to talk to somebody for the entire time. You're there to meet people. So you spend a little bit of time with a lot of people, and depending upon your conversation,
you're switching the topic. And now I wasn't talking about networking, but even then, you're not answering the question. Do you say, "Hey, Susie, it was great to meet you. I'm going to go talk to Betty now"? Is that what you say?
I would say I've got other people.
I had enough of you. I
got
had
other
enough
people I
of
gotta
you.
meet.
Okay, you don't know anything. What am I talking to you for?
Yeah, you're an idiot. Go away. That's what I say.
Ivan, do you have anything to contribute? Clang, do you have anything?
Yeah, you just say, so nice meeting you. That's all. You don't need to say like,
And then you
I
turn
go
your
to
back
meet
on them.
other
You
people.
turn
This
your
is
back
dumb.
on them. and walk
you
away.
just say nice chatting to you. Let's exchange LinkedIn. So you then have the LinkedIn contacts to say bye.
Yeah, there it
And this
goes.
is, I
There's
mean,
Ernie, that's
this.
Ernie's solution. Okay, but really, Ivan, the question I was asking you was when you decide that the candidate, you're not going to place this candidate, well, how do you turn off the person?
Just I at the moment I have no fitting roles, but it might change next week. So let's.
So you
keep
never
in touch.
called up like Rich and said, I'm working on a good job that you might be interested in. You don't do that to start off.
But you're not good enough.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm pushing this too far. These guys are, evading me. Does anybody else have something they want to talk about? Anybody? No? It's all me. Okay. All me. It's all me. It's all me. Okay. Does anybody ask this question? It's sort of standard, but I never ask it. What work accomplishment are you most proud of? Does anybody ask that?
No.
Silence, crickets. Nobody asked that
For
question. Other people.
sales will ask about some of their bigger deals and bigger wins, but similar question, I suppose.
How do you confirm that a sales rep has met quota or exceeded quota when they say they have?
You just walk through some of the numbers. You ask them about the deals they've won, like how many deals was that? What's an average deal size? You just run quick math. And it's amazing how many times it doesn't add up.
Oh, really? You're good at arithmetic, Rich?
No, I'm not, but I can do math. I mean, it's like, give me round numbers, 100.
So the difference between math and arithmetic, for me, they mean pretty much the same.
They're the same. I just said, no, I'm not good at math, but it's round numbers. Quarters are $1 million. The guys tell me he sold 3 deals at 100 grand. one deal at, at 400 grand. I'm like, well, you seem a little short then, on the quota you told me you blew out. It's not,
Okay, I got more questions, but I'm
They're
getting
not gonna
tired.
pay you.
We're getting
They're not
close
gonna
to the
pay-
end. Ernie, you came late. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, I'm fine. I just joined in. I wanted
you
to
go.
laugh.
We
There you
didn't,
go.
food industry recruiter extraordinaire, but foodindustryrecruiter.com. That's Ernie Moreno. Raise your hand, Ernie, so everyone knows. He's wearing a white shirt. I don't know what happened
Yeah,
to him.
his
Okay.
purple one is
He
gone for
went
60.
black to turns purple. Now we're gray.
Number
Mhm.
11, Rich Rosen. He's number 11 on the Forbes best recruiting company in America and the highest rated solo recruiter, cornerstonesearch.com, mariotherecruiter.com. Raise your hand. In the background is Iwan Gulenko, clang.so, and David M. Marr. And that's it, everybody. Thanks. I had a lot of fun. See you
Bye-bye.
later.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.